I am Rabbi Michael Klayman from the Lake Success Jewish Center. We sometimes lapse into despair, believing that Dr. King was a lonely voice speaking for equality, justice, and universal honor. When we discover compatible voices of visionaries expressing their words and ideals through other languages and cultures, then we appreciate how Dr. King's vision was not restricted by time nor by nation. I come from a Jewish and Hebrew culture, ancient and contemporary, dedicated to equality. Although, as with all cultures, there are mistakes, setbacks, and even failures, there are many voices within my Hebrew tradition expressing in their own way the visions of Dr. King. So rather than convey my own words, I share two poems. The first by an Israeli poet known simply as Zelda. Zelda was a woman poet in a literary world often dominated by men. She was a religious woman living in a society where women of her time were not encouraged to be poets. Her poem, Light a Candle, offers hope that the Jewish Sabbath ideal of peace becomes a universal reality rather than merely a vision. Light a candle, drink wine. Softly the Sabbath has plucked the sinking sun. Slowly the Sabbath descends, the rose of heaven in her hand. How can the Sabbath plant a huge and shining flower in a blind and narrow heart? How can the Sabbath plant the bud of angels in a heart of raving flesh? Can the rose of immortality grow in a generation enslaved to destruction, a generation enslaved to death? Light a candle, drink wine. Slowly the Sabbath descends, and in her hand the flower, and in her hand the sinking sun. The second poem, by Israeli poet Yehuda Amichai, is about the searching of an Arab shepherd for his goat and a Jewish father for his son. Their shared moment conveys one of Dr. King's visions about joining together. I will only just define one expression. In the course of the poem, Amichai mentions Chad Gadya. Chad Gadya is a song that we sing during our Passover Seder. It is about animals and objects devouring one another until God comes to redeem even the smallest creature. Here, perhaps, the hope is that the boy and the goat in the poem will emerge unscathed without suffering any violence. An Arab shepherd is searching for his goat on Mount Zion, and on the opposite hill, I am searching for my little boy. An Arab shepherd and a Jewish father, both in their temporary failure. Our two voices met above the Sultan's pool in the valley between us. Neither of us wants the boy or the goat to get caught in the wheels of the Had Gadya machine, where each gets devoured. Afterward, we found them among the bushes, and our voices came back inside us, laughing and crying, searching for a goat or for a child, has always been the beginning of a new religion in these mountains. May we, in our cities, in our towns, begin a new era of hope and understanding, honoring Dr. King's legacy.